Dubro Suspicion Files.
Back in 1974, we did something pretty bold. We sent a message out into the stars. Just a 3-minute digital postcard, really. But for the last 50 years, people have been arguing about it. Was it this beautiful, hopeful gesture? Or was it maybe the most reckless thing we've ever done? So let's just cut to the chase. Did we basically commit cosmic suicide? Did we, as a species that's barely learned to walk, just scream our home address into a potentially very dangerous neighborhood? To even start to answer that, you've got to understand this one theory, a theory that honestly keeps some of the smartest people on the planet awake at night. It's called the dark forest theory, and it is a chillingly logical answer to that big question. Where is everybody? The Fermi paradox. The theory goes like this. Imagine the universe is a giant dark forest at night. Every civilization out there is like a lone hunter, creeping through the trees, trying to stay hidden. Why? Because you don't know who else is out there. You can't know their intentions. So if you see another hunter's campfire, what's the safest move? The only logical move. You take them out, before they have a chance to take you out. In a forest like that, making a sound, lighting a fire, revealing your location is basically suicide. And look, this isn't just some crazy sci-fi plot. The great Stephen Hawking himself warned us about this. He said flat out that trying to contact aliens could be incredibly dangerous. And the point isn't that they'd be, evil in some movie villain way. It's that they might just be logical, ruthlessly, terrifyingly logical, just like us. Okay, so how real is this threat? Is this something we actually need to worry about? Let's do some digging. The dark forest theory is, you have to admit, pretty compelling. But theories are one thing, evidence is another. So let's start with the signal itself. Let's look at the actual physics of what we sent. All right, this number right here, this is maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle. By the time our little message travels 25,000 light years to its destination, the signal will have weakened so much. We're talking about a final strength of negative 283.5 dBm. I mean, that's not even a whisper. It's basically nothing. It's an unimaginably faint signal. And this is where it gets kind of funny, right? Here's the gap between what we wanted to do and what we actually did. We aimed for a target 25,000 light years away. But get this, if an alien civilization had a telescope exactly like our own Arecibo, they would have had to be within about 250 light years to even pick it up. By the time it actually gets to where it's going, it's not a message anymore. It's just static, completely swallowed up by the background noise of the universe. But okay, let's just pretend for a second. Let's say, against all odds, they do pick it up. Now what? Well, now they have to solve this insane puzzle. First, they have to realize that the total number of bits, 1,679, is a special number. Then, they have to figure out it's the product of two prime numbers, 23 and 73. Then, they have to just assume it's supposed to be a picture arranged in a grid, and even then, they have to guess which way the grid goes. If they lay it out the wrong way, it's just a meaningless jumble of pixels. We basically sent a message that only works if aliens think exactly like 1970s human mathematicians. And that brings us to the real punchline. It was never really about making contact. I mean, one of the scientists who was actually there, Donald Campbell, he put it perfectly. He said it was just a symbolic event. It was a tech demo. They were just showing off the new upgrades to the Arecibo telescope. So think of it less as a cosmic phone call and more like a high-tech press release. So, case closed, right? A harmless tech demo? Well, not so fast. Because the people who believe this was a huge mistake have a really good counterargument. They say, forget Arecibo, that one little message doesn't even matter because we've been screaming our existence into space for more than 100 years. Yeah, you've seen this in movies, right? The idea of this radio bubble expanding out from Earth, carrying all our old broadcasts and stuff. Surely that's what's going to get us noticed. Well, the actual physics of it might surprise you. Turns out, all that TV and radio leakage, it's incredibly weak. It turns into static almost immediately. But here's the really wild part, the thing the whole debate seems to ignore. The loudest things we're beaming into space are not messages like Arecibo, not even close. It's our military radars, our planetary defense systems. For 50 years, we've been arguing about this tiny 3-minute whisper from 1974, while we've been constantly blasting the cosmos with some of the most powerful signals we can generate. So let's recap. The signal was way too weak to be a real threat, and we've got much louder stuff we're broadcasting anyway. So why? Why are we still so obsessed with this one specific message? To get that, we have to stop looking at the physics and start looking at, well, at us, at the psychology of it all. You gotta remember, the Arecibo message didn't just come out of nowhere. It was part of this bigger wave of cosmic optimism in the 70s. It came right after they sent the Pioneer plaques out on space probes in 72 and 73. Sending a radio message was just the next logical step. I mean, it's a lot faster than snail mail, right? And this is what's so fascinating. This whole argument is really a fight between two of our deepest, most human feelings. On one hand, you have this profound fear of being alone, this desperate need to know that there's someone else out there. But on the other hand, you have that primal fear of the dark, of what you might find if you go looking. And the Arecibo message, it lives right there, at the perfect intersection of that hope and that terror. Which leads us to a classic question you ask in any investigation. Who benefits? Cui bono? Who actually gains something from taking this symbolic tech demo and turning it into this huge, dangerous, existential drama? Well, there are a couple of obvious answers. First up, the media. Come on, humanity risks annihilation is a way better headline than scientists test new telescope feature. It's just more exciting. But second, and this is a little more inside baseball, the controversy is actually good for the field of SETI and METI. When you frame this as a life-or-death debate, it stops being a fringe science and starts being a serious policy issue. And that helps get attention, legitimacy, and funding. So there we have it. The case seems pretty much closed. It was a weak signal, more of a symbol than anything, blown way out of proportion by our own anxieties. But just when you think you've got it all figured out, the story takes this completely bizarre, unexpected twist. Fast forward 27 years. The year is 2001. And in a field in England, right next to a big radio telescope, this appears. An incredibly complex pattern pressed into a crop field. And it wasn't random. Oh no, it was very, very specific. Just look at this. It's a side-by-side. The crop circle used the exact same grid as the Arecibo message, but it changed everything. Our biology, based on carbon, they swapped it for silicon. The little stick figure of a human replaced with a classic big-headed gray alien. They even tweaked our DNA sequence. And our telescope, they replaced it with some kind of complex satellite thing. This wasn't just a random design. It was a direct point-by-point reply. So, was this it? Was this first contact? Nope, not even close. The scientific community was pretty much immediate and unanimous on this one. It was a hoax. A really, really clever and well-made hoax, for sure. But a human-made hoax nonetheless. But here's the thing. The fact that it was a hoax is maybe the most interesting part of this whole saga. Because in a weird way, that fake reply tells us way more about ourselves than the real message ever could. It's a textbook example of a psychological bias called patternicity. It's that thing our brains do where we're hardwired to see patterns and meaning in things, even in random noise. Think about seeing faces in clouds. We are so desperate for an answer from out there that we will literally go out and make one ourselves, just so we have something to look at. And that's the real kicker, the final beautiful irony here. The original message from 1974, sent from us to them, was a technical stunt that will almost certainly never be understood. But the 2001 hoax, a message sent from humans to other humans, was a massive success. It communicated perfectly. It tells us zero about aliens, but it tells us everything about ourselves, our hopes, our fears, our culture, and that deep, deep feeling of wanting to know we're not alone. So that little 3-minute message is still out there, flying through the dark on its 25,000-year trip. And it leaves us with a big question. What is it really? Is it our greatest act of hope, a beautiful gesture reaching out into the unknown? Or is it our most dangerous act of arrogance, a gamble we never should have taken? In the end, how you answer that probably says a lot more about you than it does about the message.